Bread, one of the oldest foods eaten by humans, was first ever made by taking flour from the wheat and barley and then mixing it with the ground up roots of plants, adding water, and then baking it by letting it sit in the sun. Since then, the bread scene has been ever changing. Ancient bread, and up until the industrialization, used to be particularly heartier and more flavorful. However, industrialization shortened the time to make and cut bread, and through this process it lost nutritional value as well as flavor. White bread became particularly more popular during World War I because it was easily made in mass but it lacked nutritional value. More recently, we have switched back to dark breads from white that were produced by companies like Wonder Bread. Specifically, we've moved towards wheatier and seedier breads. Thus, they have become healthier. However, the term healthier in regards to food is a broad term. All this states is that bread is becoming more efficient in fulfilling its part of the carbohydrates in a balanced diet.
In terms of social justice, bread will be a big issue. Throughout history, bread has been seen as the every person food. It doesn't matter what class or race you are, bread is universal. Which is why wondering what bread will be like in the next 20 years will be a pretty big indicator of how the world is doing as a whole. In recent years, bread has become a lot more of an industrial process. Things like adding oxidants to bread in order to speed up the time it takes for a loaf to ferment has decreased the cost, which is good if the only thing you're looking at is cost, because this allows people to afford it more. Along with adding preservatives, bread can more easily be shipped to places where it is needed the most, solving some more issues with food scarcity. With the Green Revolution well underway and advancements in technology, I think that bread will be farmed at an unprecedented rate, which again is good for feeding the entire world. However, it is not conclusive whether adding these things is worse for you if you're looking at things like health. Which brings us to our next topic, which is how different breads are stealing the spotlight.
What is the role of sourdough bread in the future of healthy bread? Sourdough bread has become a recent trend due to COVID-19 when home bakers had more time on their hands. It became a trend on TikTok after instant yeast became in short supply during the pandemic. The health benefits of sourdough are another factor for its popularity, while others like the sense of connection it brings to locally sourcing your own food and ingredients and putting in the time and effort to make something yourself. But where does sourdough fit in the future of bread? Consumer demands for healthier foods have fluctuated in recent years, bringing a higher importance to simpler, more nutrient-rich items such as sourdough. We believe there will be an increase in the incorporation of sourdough into the bakery market, as well as its market size to double by 2026. Sourdough is an important part of the future of bread, especially since health has become such a prevalent issue in the topic.
As people seek to make their diets healthier, an option that has arisen has been using the ancient grain einkorn as an alternative. Einkorn is an ancient grain that was domesticated around 7500 BC. Compared to modern wheat, einkorn is much more nutritious. It is higher in protein, calcium, and antioxidants. Einkorn's higher protein content is one of its most distinguishing features. Unlike wheat, einkorn has a husk that needs to be removed before being consumed. It is low yielding, but it can grow and thrive in low quality soils and low moisture conditions, unlike wheat. Like many of the other ancient grains, einkorn has increased in popularity as people seek to add more nutrients to their diet.
Bread is a foundational dish to cuisines across the globe. It's cheap, filling, and delicious, and most cultures have a form of bread that can accompany any meal. Different cultures have different ways of preparing bread, such as steaming, baking, and grilling. London has its own unique landscape of cultural breads. Some of the largest ethnic communities in London are Indian, Pakistani, Black African, and Black Caribbean, and the French baking tradition also has an influence on bread in the UK. The question of which of these breads are healthy is a complicated one. Recent trendy diets such as Keto, Atkins, Whole30, and South Beach involve eliminating bread consumption in favor of complex carbohydrates or replacing carbs altogether with protein. One issue with these diets is that they often measure health according to weight loss. Studies have shown that processed flour, excess sugar, and preservatives are what makes bread unhealthy. The nutrients formed during fermentation, combined with the vitamins within the grains themselves, make bread a healthy component of any meal. A growing interest in home cooking, increasingly global appetites, and a shift towards clean eating over elimination diets all point towards bread consumption becoming healthier in the future.